Welcome to week 12 of the Bill Neese's Coaches Show. I'm your host, Chip Hare, with this is Coach Bill Neese. Show brought to you by Edison State Community College and Employee Bridge. Coach, week 11, week 1 of the playoffs in the books. Indians get the first win of round 1, defeating Little Miami 49-7. Again, I don't know that if you look at the score, it's indicative to the competitiveness of the game. We knew that team was going to be pretty good. It did get to a running clock, but it was late in the game. We played well, but Little Miami, they were a good team, and it showed that they had a good conference schedule.
Mm-hmm. You can tell that they've been in the neighborhood of playing some pretty good teams, and they were at our stadium ready to roll, and I thought they had a good plan. They took a couple things that maybe conglomeration of some things that other teams have had success, and then tried to capitalize on that a little bit with their offense, although they ran their offense as they do, and we were able to kind of go in. At one point we're yelling Xenia adjustment, another point we're yelling Lebanon adjustment. So there were some things that we had anticipated, and offensively I thought we did a good job of being able to get our power game more to the outside and get Brady involved in our power game, which usually he's not that hugely involved in because of the fact of some of the things they were doing with their defensive linemen.
Well, we talk about Brady. Well, it was a good point to bring up. He was outstanding on Friday night, throwing for 4 touchdowns, rushing for 1. I believe, if my stats were, if I remember correctly, he actually outrushed Josiah. He was great in the air with his arm. He was great on his feet. And we've had guys that caught his ball. So those guys too, those receivers like Elijah Frazier and Corey Miller, fantastic game by those gentlemen.
We had some good yak yardage, and I think also the fact that he was able to, get out there and take what was there. The good thing about when we deal with him in the offense is that you never have to force anything. If they're going to do this, then it's obvious. That he's there. And some years, we've had people that couldn't help us on the play. The play was there. You could call the play, but it wasn't going to be that successful anyway, and I think he adds another dimension to it.
Well, I think there's 2 things that you look at when you just mentioned that. Number one is knowing what to do and when to react, but also it's watching film and knowing where gaps might be and opportunities are.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I don't think anymore, but there's a lot of people that have underestimated his speed a little bit, because everybody assumes Medley's the man, and he is the man. He's the fastest guy on the team, but Brady's got some great speed.
Yeah, he reads very well, and obviously it helped the Indians get a nice win. Defensively too, you hold a team to 7 points. That's also reflects on some strong defense by the Indians.
It was, and I think the back end of our defense played really well. I think we closed very well. I think our linebackers got underneath the routes pretty good, and we put the normal heat on the quarterback. Didn't blitz a lot. Didn't have to blitz a lot. I think our front 4 rotated in pretty quick, and we were able to. We rotated 6 guys into the front 4 and kept those guys fresh the whole game.
Well, you're coming into week 11. It's a new opponent. It's a team we haven't seen. You got a sense from the guys there was a lot of anxiety, good anxiety. They were anxious, but just trying to get a feel for how this thing's going to go. And once we got things rolling, things kind of took care of themselves.
Yeah, it was. And then once you get into the playoffs and once you get rolling, then you're in that mode. Everybody's in that mode. You don't win or you're out. And, and I know it's obvious, but it really stares you in the face that you're sitting there going, it's one and done. It's one and done, one way or the other. So you better be 1-0, or else you're going to be, cleaning up some equipment Sunday and turning some stuff in. So you get a little bit more urgency going on.
Well, the urgency certainly was met as the Indians win in round 1. Now on to round 2 as the Indians Pickle will take on Cincinnati Withrow. Coach, Cincinnati Withrow defeats Troy, as you know, 29-7, in a game that I believe Troy had scored actually first. They've got some speed. They've got a lot of different things, but they're a team that's only lost one game. They play in the City League. A lot of people don't know that. Maybe talk a little bit about Cincinnati Withrow and some of the teams that they play. As they're in a league that is kind of a dual league between the Dayton Public League and the Cincinnati Public Schools.
Well, about 3 years ago, they were in the ECC, which was Anderson, Kings, Turpin, Winton Woods, that group. And last year, I believe, was the COVID year was the first year possibly that they were transitioning, and they were in then the Metro League. And so they moved into the Metro League, and they play Cincinnati Aiken, Cincinnati Woodward. Also, then they have, like you said, they have a commitment with the Dayton Public Schools. So we do have a couple crossovers. We played Belmont this year. They played Belmont this year. They played Trotwood Madison this year. We did not, but we've played Trotwood for years, so we have an idea of what Trotwood football is all about, obviously. And so we've got a decent connection, with that. And they have had a ultra successful year. They're scoring some points on people, and they're not giving up points on people. And the only stumble they had was Cincinnati Taft, and Taft is the #1 seed in their region in their classification. So it's not like Taft is not a very good football team, because they are. So I think the public schools are well represented with 2 schools being in the playoffs.
Well, you look at Withrow and the scores as you talk about. They've had. I think you used the words to me the other day, pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
And learned that they won their first playoff game in over 100 years the other day. So I'm sure they really feel like they've got things going. What are some things that we can expect, the Indians can expect to see from them on the defense, offensively?
Well, offensively, they have a great running attack. They use the counter scheme very well. They use the zone scheme very well, and they have an H-back that does a great job of being able to mash up on that last guy on the line of scrimmage and let the running back go as they will. They've went through a quarterback transition, so they're getting comfortable with a new quarterback, and so we kind of had to look at 2 different versions of what was happening. So those are probably the 2 big standouts, and they've got an outstanding H-back receiver. So I think when you look at their statistics, a lot of their statistics, have a ground game, have a very competent, passing attack, and especially featuring number 10, in terms of that. On the defensive side, they're a pressure defense. They line up almost exactly like we do. So, like today at practice, we were calling their defenses. Usually, we have to use something else, and we're just calling them by our names. The biggest difference is that they play almost all man coverage, and we play almost zone coverage. So that's our big difference in the back end. And the front end, very similar.
As far as athletic, we know they're pretty athletic. Their quarterback, I saw the other day, they had 51-yard touchdown against Troy. So I see that their quarterback is pretty good on his legs, as well as keeping the ball, throwing the ball in the air.
Yeah, and he's the quarterback that came in. So he was a wide receiver, and so he has and wide receiver, running back. So he obviously has a history of being able to run the football and knows where to use his blockers and get out and go.
Coaches, we get into week 12, and again, the season has been going for a while, but you can. How is it as a coach that the MO is still each week by week by week? I think I read in an article they just take the information and we move on from there. Not change anything. Is the routine the same as we were doing the regular season? We're just keeping it the same for postseason.
Yeah, routine's the same.
People like to know that. Is it what's different between the postseason and the regular season? And there is none.
There's no difference. There's no difference in terms of preparation. I think the biggest difference is sometimes you don't know. You've never played these guys, or you don't know something about it. So that's where it's our job to go out to get as much information as possible. Right. And when we get into our Monday meetings, which I mentioned quite a bit. That's where we all pull together for the week, and we discuss our schedule, discuss who we're playing, go through the offense briefly, offense, defense, get your little mini scouting reports on everything, catch everybody up on last week's news, pass out awards. And get everything straightened out. And, those guys come in on Mondays and they want to know, who we're playing, what they're about, and everything. And we showed them a little picture of their stadium because we had gone down there. We've been down there before for passing scrimmages and for regular scrimmages. Mm-hmm. So it's an outstanding place. It really looks nice.
That's got a mystique to it.
Yeah. 119 years old. So they got a chance to look at that and see some of the other things like that. And you just feature, these are the guys they got. These are all league guys coming back, et cetera, and just kind of get as much information and get a feel for who they are. Pictures, diagrams, whatever you can do, so they get comfortable with who they're going to go against.
Well, when you're into the point of what do you do about the same, it's different. You're saying we keep it the same, but we're giving more information because of when you're playing Sydney, everybody knows. Okay, we know Sydney, we know what that is. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking about Little Miami and Withrow, these guys may have heard about them, but they really don't know the background.
Well, that's what I mean, and that's kind of my job to you say you do the same thing every week, but you do the same template, but then it's my job to make it as interesting as possible. So I thought it would be interesting for them to see their stadium, interesting for this. There's we got paw prints on all of our play cards now. We got the on the scouting report and stuff like that. So you change that type of routine and add some things in and keep their interest.
So keeping the playoff concepts moving here, we are in the 8 teams left in our region. For those that would keep track, this would be what a normal playoff up until this year. It was 16. Now we're in the what our normal template of a playoff would be. Coach, your experience, you've been in a lot of playoff games. Keeping a normalcy, but I also notice your practices are getting a little shorter, and not because you don't want to go harder. You've got all what you need in. You're going short. Mm-hmm. You're short and sharp.
Well, we've never been a long practice team, from the time that we started, and we have a really good plan for practice. We move quickly. We go from drill to drill. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be in every single drill. We're able to get stuff done, rather quickly, and we just don't screw around out there. We have our meetings, in here. Now the offense goes out and does their walkthrough while the defense is in meetings. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, we get everything done out there. We start off in the meeting room with scout film, and then we go out and practice, and then we finish back in the film room. After everybody mandatorily washes their hands, we go back into the film room, and then we watch practice. So we film everything we do at practice, go back and look at that again, and then either offense goes to one place, defense goes to the other one, then we watch a little bit more of the scout tape. So we always try to start and finish. The big thing is the players enjoy the fact that they get immediate feedback on what they did, like at today's practice, and we sit there and watch it right there, and we can watch. Every day the offense goes against the defense in some drill where it's full go ones on ones, and that's where everybody in the room they're in the room together, and everybody's accountable, and you can look up and say, ooh, so. It really keeps our kids motivated.
It's the old adage that film doesn't lie.
No, it does not lie.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we're moving forward now, getting ready to talk about. We had a lot of good performances by a lot of. We talked about the seniors a lot this year, but a lot of juniors really got in on the action on Friday night. We talked about Brady. Elijah Frazier caught 2 touchdown passes. Mm-hmm. Mr. Brown caught a touchdown pass. So and Colton Booker, another one. Those guys, all juniors, not to talk about the future, but it's nice to see those guys really coming along this year and making a contribution, which they have been, but you can see more of a significant one.
Oh, it was big for them. They had a great night scoring touchdowns and everything. So, it keeps them rolling, in the game. And don't forget, Dre was also involved in his normal jet sweeps back and forth. That's another underclassman for us. So we've got a good group right there of receivers / H-backs / slots that are doing some really good things for us. And the more we can get them better with our motions and being able to time up that snap so it's just right in the backfield so you really can't see and create some distraction, the better off our offense is going to be.
Well, keeping this line of the juniors, our featured 2 athletes that we're talking to today, Jackson Trombley, our kicker and punter, and of course our offensive and defensive lineman, Mr. Anson Cox, both have been very important as far as the program and the team's success this year. Let's first talk a little about Jackson. We've said it over and over this year, being able to kick the ball into the end zone gives us such an advantage. He's certainly been very good on the PATs as well. He's a real threat for the Indians.
He is, and taking on the added responsibility of punting, this year has been even more impressive to me that he's able to get that, and he uses his practice time well. We're out there, and the way we gear our practices also is that he is on call at any given moment to do something. And I think that has helped him quite a bit in terms of keeping his focus during the games, because a lot of times, I know in the past, maybe 3 years ago before we changed our practice situation around, it'd be on the board, it'd be mapped out, and you'd sit there, okay, we're going this here, this here, this here, this here, and then I kick for 5 minutes and then I'm done. I kick for, okay, I'm over here. And what we now have is we don't post our practice schedule anymore. They don't know what's going to happen, at any given time. And as a result, Jackson may come in at one point here, may come in at one point here. We may put the punt team out for a drill here. We may put the kickoff team over here. We may be on the kickoff return, and he's got a kick to him. So we've got him going in a bunch of different places, and it's really paid off. And I know he on his own works. I'm not going to say that is the reason for his success. I'm just saying that helps him mentally. But he goes out on his own and works his butt off, and works on his own in the off season and everything. And he's got his own, kicking people, and he does a fantastic job of self-correcting sometimes when something's not working for him.
Well, let's talk about the extra points. Sometimes we take those for granted because he's been so successful. But I can tell you, there's been years and years past. And our kickers have tried hard, but are we going to get it or aren't we going to get it? Yeah. I know there's been times where you intentionally went for two to try because
you weren't sure if you're going to get one.
So now now we're in that position where, I don't want to say we take him for granted, but boy, it's nice to know that, hey, our chances are pretty good. The fact that he might connect on, he's probably going to connect on.
There's a calming effect when you have a kicker like him, and it's rare, and he's only a junior, so hopefully he'll keep on doing what he's doing.
Healthy. Yeah. Well, Anson Cox, our offense and defensive lineman. Now he's a guy that you've had to switch in a couple different spots on the defensive line, but I think it shows his intellect. But boy, here's a guy that has just gotten better and bigger, and the weight room has been outstanding for him.
He has. And if anybody would see him when he started a year ago in the weight room, he unbelievably. His bench was very average. His squat was very below average. For as big as he was, he couldn't really get down. He didn't have enough flexibility, but he could always power clean. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's the biggest test of an athlete, because it's compound exercise, and it's not. It's more of a power exercise, than just a pure strength, because power is moving something as quickly as possible rather than just moving it, period. And he has just done a fantastic job. His squat is over 300 now. If you want to watch him squat now, you'd say this guy's been squatting for 10 years. It's just perfect form. His bench is up, his military's up, and then his clean obviously is just ridiculously high for someone with long arms and things of that nature. So we're very blessed to have him. And he's a multiple sport guy. He goes out and plays basketball. He's one of our big guys in basketball, and he loves the weight room. And he has great football intelligence, great FBI. We can move him to tackle, we can move him to defensive end, and he can flip it on a dime. And that's very important, because some offenses we like him better inside, some offenses we like him better outside. It just depends.
Yeah. Coach, the other part that I noticed that he's a very good communicator. He's a guy that's talking a lot and making sure people are in the right spots. Mm-hmm. And he's also, we all have good teammates, but he's one of the vocal leaders of this team. And I'm not just talking about the junior class. I'm talking about the team itself, and that's pretty evident.
It is, and he's a humorous guy, and I appreciate sometimes someone that can whip off a quick one-liner, and he's got some good
multiples.
He's got
you got to be quick with him sometimes.
You got to be on your toes, and he's got some good material.
Yeah.
He's got some quick one-liners. So we appreciate being around him.
Well, Coach, we certainly appreciate again you taking time for us tonight, and we wish you all the best as we get ready for Withrow.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to Trombo, as we call him, and the quick liner Anson Cox when we come back. Welcome to week 12 of the Bill Nice's Coaches Show, part 2 portion of the program. Show brought to you by Edison State Community College and Employ Bridge. Gentlemen, I'm going to have you introduce your name and position you play.
I'm Jackson Trombley, and I'm a kicker and punter.
I'm junior Anson Cox, offensive tackle, defensive end.
Anson, we're talking about the underclassmen juniors, and you use the word juniors. You guys really are now in a position where you're pretty experienced, and you're going into a situation where we're in week 12, we're in the playoffs. Coach would probably say you're no longer a junior. The expectations now are, pretty high. Well, what's it been like for you to be a part of this experience to this point?
I think it's good how we have a high expectation, always look forward week by week, knowing like what we have to work on and just knowing what the business that we need to take care of.
Jackson, on your end, what's it been like for you to be a part of this experience where both of you guys really, were a part of it last year, but a lot more a part of the not just experience, but the success of the program this year?
I think, like what Anson said, the expectation went up because we won. We won last year a lot, 6-0, but we had a 10-0 season this year, so our expectation went up higher because we got a little more extra games, and yeah.
Each week I've asked the guys about what's goals, and I'm going to quit asking because I get the same answer every week. We're just week by week. I'm assuming that's your answer, but in the week to week that you take, how is it that you guys can just lock in on who we're playing this week and not look behind you or look ahead?
I feel like Monday meetings that we do. The Monday meetings we always sit down in the team room and we'll go over the team and talk about the team before we go out on practice. And he'll tell us what we expect. And I'm the kicker and punter, so I know what we're going to expect on offense and defense, and I'm not even on the field for that. So yeah.
Yeah. Anson, on your end, how do you keep it? You're playing both ways. You're playing on offensive line and defensive line. A lot of things to kind of take in, but for you, is that really kind of what helps you lock in to kind of not worry about what happened to you week 1 through 10 or 1 through 11 now, or even what could be ahead, and just locking in on what's going on week 12?
Yeah, I think a lot of the film helps a lot just going in the week, like starting the week off knowing a lot about our team that we're going against that week, and then after we focus down on the team, just work on the things that we know we need to improve on and get better as a team and as one.
Speaking as one, we had the great Sam Schmeezing was here last week, and he was talking about the team, and that you're not just juniors, that you really felt like not only just the seniors of this year have helped you feel like a part of the team, but even the graduating seniors from last year really guys made you feel like you weren't segregated or separated, that you were all just one group. Tell a little bit about the chemistry amongst you guys. I had the privilege of sitting with you guys this past weekend at the cheerleading competition, and you guys really do get along very well. You joke around with one another, but you have each other's back. That's something pretty special.
I think a lot of it comes from the off season, and then people being multi-sport athletes. We're always like around each other during school. It just helps a lot. And then the off season, looking up to the older kids, helping us to get better, and then so we're all playing as one and on the same field Friday night.
Yeah, Jackson, on your end, you've been a part of this program indirectly. I asked this question to Sam last week, and I also asked it to Brady. You've had a brother that's played.
Yeah.
And actually played your position.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes they even joke and call you Terry every now and then.
Yeah.
But for you, what's it like to now to be able to carry the legacy from the family that you've had before and to continue it into it to today?
I feel like it's something really special because he was a DN and I'm just a kicker. But no.
But he punted.
Yeah, he was a big punter. He
Yeah.
went to college for punting, and I'm hoping to go to college for kicking and punting. But another big thing is our number. I got number 18 this year and last year. That was the biggest number in our family. So
Keep it in the family.
yeah.
All right. Well, real quick, let's talk about Withrow. What are your thoughts on Withrow as we move into Week 12 on Friday night. Opportunity here will be live. We're going to talk a little bit about that again. AJ got excited. Airing live here, Indian Nation Station. Cincinnati Withrow comes to Piqua, 7 p.m. kickoff.
I feel like we're gonna be ready.
Yep. Like Jackson said, just come out ready for the game. Just another thing like that I need to work on, I need to work on personally is just staying focused. No, we don't need as much turnovers as we had last week. Just limit those things down. Other than that, I mean, just stay focused. That's all you can do.
Anson, real quick, you're a two-sport athlete.
Yeah.
Getting basketball. You actually kind of started as a basketball player, and then kind of football kind of got into your blood a little bit, and that's been so. Not talking necessarily about basketball season, but being a basketball player, do you find that to be helpful?
Yeah,
being
for
a
sure.
Two-sport athlete.
Yes, for sure. I think basketball helps a lot with cardio, running, staying in shape during the off season. I think it just helps keeping my wind up. I mean, it feels good now to be able to play both ways. I think basketball helps with that.
No, absolutely, no question. I'm going to go one more question here. I think Grandpa might be watching. I'm just a hunch.
Yeah.
What's it like to know, hey, Grandpa's been an influence on your life, but he's been following you the whole time. What's it like knowing that, again, keeping it within the family, you got people out there that are supporting the team. Grandpa hasn't just been supporting Jackson. He's been a huge Piqua fan for many, 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 many years. So what's it like on your end?
It's amazing. He used to run these shows. It was funny.
Yeah.
It was. It feels good knowing that he's always watching the games, as well as my grandmother and most of my family. They always text me after the games, stuff like that.
Well, a Lloyd Shoemaker I will not be, but I will try. So, guys, we wish you guys luck here as you move forward.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Just a reminder that, again, the game will be aired live here on the Indian Nation Station. You will be able to get that link here on the YouTube channel of Indian Nation Station. Also be played on Spectrum as we have in the past. Just as a reminder, though, tickets will be available online only. There'll be no cash sales at the gate. You can get them on the Ohio High School Athletic Association website. They are $10 on pre-sale, $12 on the day of the game. We encourage you to get your tickets early. We anticipate this to be an outstanding ball game as we are round 2 in the regionals quarterfinals between the Tigers of Withrow and the Indians of Piqua. For Anson and Jackson, I'm your host, Chip Hare. We'll see you next week.